He's never been a father before, and he's really bad at it.
I had a wife and children and a grandchild.
They teach him in so many ways about parenthood.
I always believed that I didn't need children to complete my life. Now I couldn't imagine life without them.
Let's talk about Alex Kurtzman for a minute. We're talking about a man who has just failed upward his entire career. You know, he was in charge of the Spider-Man cinematic universe, and he killed that off with one movie. He did Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and they're like, all right, let's start over. And then he kills the Dark Universe with the Mummy with one movie. They do one movie, and they're like, all right, scrap that. And then after that, they give him Star Trek. They give him the Star Trek cinematic universe. And this is after he, in part, bombed the Star Trek on cinema screens, too. Because, like, he did the second one, and because of the negative reception of that movie, the third one nobody saw. And the third one was probably the only good Kelvin Universe Star Trek movie. And even that kind of sucked in the third act. But God, and he always has like the same like awful writing tropes. I don't know what it is with Alex Kurtzman and magic blood. He had magic blood in Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. He had magic blood in Star Trek Into Darkness. And I've heard this, and I don't know if it's true because I don't watch any of these movies. But I also heard that he introduced magic blood in one of the Transformers movies. And his whole career he's been accused of ripping off video games. If you watch Star Trek Picard, it's like ripped off Mass Effect, like you wouldn't believe. Modern Star Trek under Alex Kurtzman is just like plagiarism from whatever was popular on television 5 years before. Oh, Westworld's popular? 5 years from now, Alex Kurtzman is gonna rip that off on Star Trek. Oh, Game of Thrones was popular 5 years ago. We're gonna make Star Trek Discovery heavily inspired by it. The man is just awful. I don't understand how he has maintained control over Star Trek. The man seems like a detriment to it. I read somewhere that Star Trek Discovery was supposed to have 6 seasons with the option of a 7th. It got canceled at season 5, and the last time I watched Star Trek Discovery was season 3, and that felt like a finale. And it was horrible. Some of the worst writing ever. And you can always tell it's him writing something too, because he always has these like grand platitudes that mean absolutely nothing. And this goes like everything he's ever written. And he's ruined Star Trek. Star Trek used to be a very intellectual property. He doesn't like any of the restraints. He's openly admitted this. He doesn't like the restraints Star Trek has in writing, which is the reason why Star Trek has lasted so long. It's not like everything else on television, and Alex Kurtzman is devoted his entire career to making Star Trek like everything else. So when you make it like everything else, there's no reason to freaking watch it now. You know, like, was it Star Trek Strange New Worlds has a musical episode as if this is Buffy? The only thing I've heard has been good from him is the 3rd season of Picard. And I haven't watched it because the first 2 seasons were just the most offensive things I've ever consumed. They were awful. Horrendous. Star Trek died under Alex Kurtzman. It just doesn't know it yet.
Michael Piller had great respect for the integrity of the universe. He understood that this isn't just silly science fiction, that Star Trek is a period piece. It's an invented period. But you need to observe the traditions and the continuity and the styles, and he immersed himself in it. And I think that's one of the reasons why he did such a good job.
Everybody is always trying to maintain continuity, but given the 50+ years of Star Trek, it literally becomes impossible. Given the volume of things that are out there, it's just impossible for everything to sync up perfectly. A literal impossibility to maintain continuity. Given the 50+ years of Star Trek, it literally becomes impossible.